Hello guys, welcome to my channel where stories filled with revenge, moral lessons and love are told. Sit back, relax and don't forget to like, share with your friends and subscribe, because today's story is one that burned through me like fire, and ended with a kind of justice I never thought I'd see. It was exactly 3 a.m. when my phone buzzed on the nightstand. I had been half asleep, drifting in that quiet place where the city outside my apartment hushed down to nothing but the hum of a distant highway. My first thought was that it had to be an emergency. Nobody texts me at that hour unless something's wrong. When I grabbed my phone and saw the name glowing across the screen, Lila, I felt a heaviness in my chest before I even opened it. Then I read the message. I'm at Owen's house. Come pick me up or we're done. That was it. No explicación. No apology. No effort to soften the blow of what she had just admitted with that one line. Owen was supposed to be her work friend. I had met him once or twice at those company mixers she dragged me to, always standing off in the corner with a drink in his hand, acting like he was harmless. My mind went completely numb, like all the circuits in my head had blown out at once. Then the heat hit me, anger flooding through my chest so violently that I sat up straight and almost dropped my phone. I could have played dumb. I could have sent back some weak reply like, "Okay, I'm coming." I could have ignored it, rolled over and pretended I hadn't seen it. But something inside me snapped. I wasn't about to be the guy who played chauffeur for his girlfriend after she spent the night at another man's house. My thumbs moved fast, faster than I'd ever texted in my life. Don't bother. You and I are done. That was all I sent. No question marks. No begging. Just a line drawn right there at 3:01 a.m. She didn't respond immediately, and for a moment I thought maybe she wouldn't. Maybe she'd just vanish into that other life she'd chosen. But then my phone vibrated again, this time with her trying to backpedal, sending half-coherent excuses about how it wasn't what it looked like, how she had just been drinking and didn't want to drive home, how Owen was like a brother. I stared at the screen with a bitter laugh. Brothers don't text women at midnight to come hang out. Brothers don't have their girlfriends sleeping over. And as I sat there, the air heavy with betrayal, I remembered something crucial. Owen wasn't single. He was married. His wife, Marissa, was 7 months pregnant. I had seen her once at a holiday dinner. Sweet woman, glowing in that way only expectant mothers do, smiling like the world was nothing but hope and promise. And suddenly, I knew exactly what I was going to do. I pulled up the location data from Lila's text. It was clearly Owen's address, and I took a screenshot of everything. The text where she admitted being there. The little map pin showing exactly where she was. My chest was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears, but my fingers were steady as I drafted a message to Marissa. Hey Marissa, I know this is hard to see, but you deserve to know. Lila just texted me from your house. She's with Owen right now. Here's the proof. I attached the screenshots and pressed send. For a moment, I just sat there in the dark, staring at my phone screen as if it had the power to judge me. Was I being cruel? Was I about to ruin lives? Or was I simply handing the truth to someone who deserved it more than anyone else? The answer came as a cold clarity. I wasn't the one who had ruined anything. They had done that themselves. Minutes ticked by, and I thought maybe Marissa wouldn't reply. But then her message came through. Thank you. I knew something was wrong. I'll handle it. No cry emoji. No barrage of questions. Just those sharp words, like a knife slicing through the lies she must have been choking on for months. I leaned back in bed, staring at the ceiling, my anger cooling into a strange calm. It wasn't satisfying, not yet. But it was the first taste of justice. When morning came, my phone blew up with notifications. Missed calls, voicemails, dozens of texts from Lila, ranging from angry to desperate. How could you do this to me? She typed. You ruined everything. She shifted fast between insults and pleas, 1 minute calling me bitter and pathetic, the next minute begging me to pick her up, promising that she'd explain everything if I'd just talk to her face to face. I didn't answer any of them. I muted her number, tossed the phone on my desk, and poured myself the strongest cup of coffee I'd ever made. For once, the silence in my apartment felt like armor, not loneliness. She had made her choice when she walked through Owen's door. I had made mine when I hit send on that message to Marissa. But here's the thing about betrayal, it doesn't just burn once. It burns in waves. Every time I thought I had calmed down, another surge of anger hit me, remembering the times Lila had sworn she loved me, the time she had looked me in the eyes and told me Owen was just a coworker. Every memory turned to ash. And yet, beneath that fury there was something else building. A determination. If she thought she could break me quietly in the dark, she was wrong. If she thought her lies would stay hidden, she had underestimated me. By the time the day ended, I already knew this was only the beginning. The fallout didn't come in whispers. It came like an explosion, and I watched it unfold with the kind of disbelief that leaves you almost laughing, because you can't believe the people who betrayed you are really that reckless, that shameless, that blind. Marissa didn't wait. That same evening, she drove to Owen's office building, her belly heavy with the weight of the child she carried, and stood right by the glass doors until he came down. Lila was with him. I know because Marissa later told me every detail, and the city buzzed with the story in ways even I couldn't have predicted. Picture it. Owen stepping out in his gray blazer, Lila clinging to his arm like a prize she thought she had won, only to freeze when Marissa stood there in the dusk light, holding her phone with all the evidence I had sent. The people leaving work slowed down. Some even pulled out their own phones. Marissa didn't scream. She didn't throw things. Her voice was calm, almost too calm, when she held up the phone and said, "So this is what you've been doing? Sneaking around while your wife carries your child?" Lila stuttered, tried to tug Owen toward the parking lot, but Marissa wasn't finished. She turned her gaze directly on Lila. "And you sent the proof yourself. You couldn't even hide it." Then she dropped the phone into her bag, lifted her chin, and walked away, leaving both of them standing there in a silence so sharp it cut through the noise of the city. By midnight, the story had leaked to their company. Offices are dens of gossip, and word travels faster than any email. People had seen Marissa's confrontation, filmed it, and passed it around in group chats. The footage of Owen looking guilty and Lila hiding her face was shared more than any quarterly report ever had been. I didn't have to say a single word. Their own actions spoke loud enough. The company they worked for had a strict HR policy about relationships between employees. Everything had to be disclosed. Owen was a senior manager, Lila was on his team, and they had hidden it. That was the kind of violation corporations don't just overlook. By the end of the week, they were called into a meeting. They didn't walk out with smiles. They walked out with cardboard boxes, the kind they give you when you're escorted by security and told never to return. The calls and texts from Lila grew more desperate then. "You set me up," she spat in one voicemail. "You destroyed my career, my life. Are you happy now?" In another, her tone shifted again, softer, like she was trying to lure me back. "Please just talk to me. I didn't mean for it to get this far. We can work this out." But I didn't answer. I let her words dissolve into the air, while I focused on my own life, my own peace. Meanwhile, Marissa moved like a storm. She filed for divorce within days. Her lawyer was ruthless, armed with every screenshot, every timestamp, every shred of proof that Owen had poured marital assets into his affair. Dinners, hotel bookings, weekend trips, all of it documented through the digital trail they had been too arrogant to cover. In court, those receipts became weapons. The settlement was brutal. Marissa walked away with the house, full custody, child support, and alimony. Owen didn't just lose a wife. He lost the stability he had built his whole life around. And because his name was now tied to scandal, no company wanted him. One by one, opportunities slipped away. He ended up moving back into his mother's spare bedroom. A man in his 30s who had once boasted about being untouchable. Lila fared no better. She had been living in an apartment Owen helped pay for, driving a car he helped maintain. With his finances tied up in court and his reputation in ruins, she lost it all. The eviction notice came fast, the car repossession followed. She tried leaning on friends, but most of them distanced themselves the moment her name started circulating online. And circulate it did. Because in our city, people don't forget scandals. A photo of Lila and Owen holding hands outside a bar surfaced on Reddit, captioned, "Pregnant wife at home while these two play house." It blew up, became a meme. People dissected her outfits, mocked Owen's slump-shouldered expressions, and turned their shame into entertainment. Every time I opened social media, there it was again, reshared, rehashed, laughed at. They wanted to flaunt their love. Instead, they became a circus act. I never added fuel. I never commented, never shared. I just watched from a distance, sipping my coffee while the same woman who once threatened to leave me at 3 a.m. now fought to survive the world she had chosen. But the story didn't stop at public shaming. One night, weeks after their downfall had fully settled in, I got another message from Lila. It wasn't anger this time, it was desperation. "Please. I need you. I don't have anyone else." She attached a photo of a pregnancy test, claiming she was carrying my child. For a moment I froze. The timing didn't make sense, but the weight of her words pressed hard. Then something caught my eye. I did a reverse image search. The photo came from Pinterest. She hadn't even bothered to take her own test. She had copied someone else's. I didn't reply. I didn't confront her. I just let the silence speak. Marissa, on the other hand, began to glow again. She told me one afternoon, when we bumped into each other at a cafe, that she had started dating her daughter's pediatrician. "He's kind, steady, nothing like Owen," she said with a smile that reached her eyes. The weight was gone from her shoulders. She had walked through fire and emerged stronger. And me? I focused on work and my efforts were noticed. A promotion came steady and solid with the kind of recognition that built a different kind of pride in me. Life wasn't perfect, but it was mine again, free of secrets and betrayal. By then, Lila and Owen had lost everything they had gambled for. Their relationship crumbled under the pressure. Without money, without friends, without the admiration they once fed on, they turned against each other. She accused him of ruining her future. He accused her of dragging him down. Their story, which had begun with stolen glances and secret texts, ended in arguments screamed across his mother's living room walls. The world had watched their love implode. And I, the man who had once been nothing more than a pawn in their game, stood free, untouched by the ashes they left behind. The months that followed felt like breathing after holding my head underwater for too long. For the first time in years, I could wake up without a knot in my stomach, without checking my phone for excuses, lies, or demands from Lila. I could walk down the street without wondering if Owen was somewhere laughing behind my back. What I didn't expect was how completely karma would continue to circle back around, wrapping everything in its quiet but merciless grip. Owen became a ghost in the professional world. Every attempt he made to claw his way back into corporate life ended with rejection. No company wanted a scandal attached to its brand, especially not one so public and humiliating. People remembered. Recruiters remembered. His name wasn't just a name anymore. It was a cautionary tale. He ended up taking odd jobs, the kind of work he used to mock others for doing, until he finally stopped trying. The once proud man who strutted around boardrooms now spent his days sitting in his mother's kitchen, scrolling endlessly through social media that mocked him. Lila's story was even harsher. After losing her apartment and her car, she bounced between friends' couches until the invitations dried up. People whispered behind her back, some directly to her face. Homewrecker. Snake. Trash. The labels clung to her wherever she went. Employers Googled her name and turned her away. The meme of her standing next to Owen outside that bar resurfaced every few weeks, her face now etched into the internet's permanent memory. One evening, I got a message from a mutual acquaintance. "Bro, Lila's working at this dive bar now. She looks miserable." I didn't go to see for myself. I didn't need to. The image was already painted in my mind. The woman who once carried herself with such arrogance, who told me at 3 in the morning that I had to pick her up or lose her, was now the punchline of her own story. But while their lives spiraled downward, Marissa's rose like sunlight after a storm. I saw her again months later at a local farmer's market. She was pushing a stroller, her baby sleeping soundly, and walking beside her was a tall man with kind eyes, the pediatrician she had mentioned. They looked peaceful, like a family rebuilt on trust rather than lies. She noticed me across the stalls and smiled. One of those genuine smiles that carry no bitterness, no lingering shadows. "Thank you again," she said softly, "for giving me the truth when I needed it most." Her gratitude meant more to me than she knew. It was the reminder that my choice to hit send, to expose the betrayal instead of swallowing it, hadn't just freed me, it had freed her too. In a world where people often stay silent to avoid drama, I had chosen honesty, and the ripple effect had been enormous. As for me, life unfolded in ways I couldn't have scripted better. My promotion opened doors not just financially but emotionally, because it proved I could stand tall on my own. I started traveling more for work, meeting new people, expanding my perspective. It was during one of those trips that I met Elena, a marketing consultant with a laugh that cut through any heaviness. She didn't remind me of Lila in any way. She was grounded, genuine, and steady. What started as casual conversations over coffee turned into long walks, shared meals, and eventually something deeper. I didn't dive in recklessly this time. I carried the scars of betrayal, but instead of letting them harden me, I let them guide me. I communicated openly, I listened, and slowly, I allowed myself to trust again. With Elena, there were number 3 a.m. ultimatums, no hidden agendas. Just quiet consistency, the kind that builds a foundation strong enough to hold. Meanwhile, Owen and Lila finally broke apart. Their relationship, born of secrecy and lies, couldn't survive the harsh light of truth. By the time their names stopped trending online, they weren't even together anymore. Owen stayed with his mother, sinking into bitterness. Lila drifted into obscurity, her social media accounts abandoned after being flooded with ridicule. They weren't just forgotten. They were remembered for all the wrong reasons. And in the end, that was the truest form of revenge. Not the angry messages, not the confrontations, not even the court battles. It was the way the universe seemed to tilt back into balance, stripping away everything they had stolen, and leaving them to sit with the consequences of their choices. I remember one night, months after everything had settled, scrolling through Reddit and stumbling upon a thread. Someone had posted an old picture of Lila and Owen with the caption, "Wonder where these two ended up." The comments poured in jokes, guesses, laughter. Some people still used her face as a reaction meme. I closed the thread with a small smile. That was their legacy now. Not love, not success, not happiness, just ridicule. And me? I wasn't broken anymore. I wasn't angry anymore. I had closure, peace, and the quiet satisfaction of knowing that while betrayal had cut me open, it had also pushed me towards something far better. Because the truth is, revenge isn't always about what you do. Sometimes it's about what you don't do. I didn't chase after them. I didn't scream or beg. I simply stepped aside and let life handle the rest. And life did. Moral lesson. Life has a way of exposing truth, no matter how deeply people try to bury it. This story is proof that betrayal might sting in the moment, but it never goes unanswered. Lies collapse, selfish choices rot from within, and those who hurt others are often undone by their own hands. But the beauty is that when you choose not to let bitterness control you, when you let go and move forward, life rewards you with peace, new beginnings, and real love. So if you've ever been betrayed, remember, you don't need to destroy anyone to find justice. Sometimes their downfall writes itself, and your best revenge is simply thriving. Guys, if you enjoyed this story, make sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more powerful stories filled with revenge, healing, and lessons you can carry with you. And don't forget to drop a comment below telling me what you would have done in my shoes, and what lessons you've taken from this journey.